Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy Friday on this beautiful day. Let's get into Avini right away. Let's get into, I think I switched over. How did that happen? I got to go back to the beginning of the presentation. I don't know how that always happens. I clicked something I didn't want to. My name is Kat or Dr. Kat. I'm a doctor of pharmacy, a holistic pharmacist. I have been doing have been a pharmacist for over 35 years and moved into the holistic space pretty soon and added on more and more of those topics and realms, which was really interesting because from the start, I thought it can be the thing that we just tune into one specific symptom and try to address this one symptom and forget about the rest of the body. And meanwhile, with many of the drugs, of the prescription drugs, at the same time, we affect the entire body in a way we don't really want it to affect them. So I was always very much interested in the holistic field, was a lot in diving around in homeopathy, which I really love a lot because that goes a lot with energy healing and the energy of the remedy into our body to help our body heal itself. So that was always a thing that interested me. And here we go again, helping your body heal itself. We are back to the same thing, which I love a lot. So let's get started. And we want to take a look again at what changed in the last 70 to 80 years. How has our environment changed? How has our health changed? Our lifespan, let's look at our lifespan. What happened in the from 1950 to now? In 1950, the average lifespan in the United States was 65.6 years. Today, where did we get what happened in between? So we started pretty much at around 1960, really blasting in prescription drugs. There was a big spike in around 2000, 1990, the first, then 2000, and now it's steady growing. And actually in the last, I would say 6 to 8 years, again, pretty much up. So the prescription drugs go up a lot, and let's see what that did. It increased our lifespan to 79 years on average. So that's average female and male, men and women. But what it didn't increase is our health span. So we live longer, but we don't live healthier. It also means if the health span is in average 63 years, that the last 16 years of our lives we spent in pretty poor health. I don't like this outlook. I'm getting kind of closer to this number of 63, and I'm not planning on spending the life from then on in poor health. Absolutely not. So I'm definitely going to take care that this is not going to happen. Who is going to be with me? Can I see a few hands? Yeah? Yeah. Thank God. So let's go ahead. What else has changed? What didn't change is that we are still part of nature. We can't extract ourselves from nature. We are still part of it, but we have changed nature and we also have changed the food we eat. And we are pretty much surrounded by a very toxic environment. And with that toxic environment, we also ingest a bunch of toxins. We ingest them through the food, through the water we drink, and through the air we breathe, and also through the skin with our skin products. There are over 86,000 environmental toxins bombarding us every day, and the EPA has had the power to regulate harmful chemicals under Toxic Substances Control Act since 1976. And here we have this number again. I think that's again a very shocking number of all these over 86,000 environmental toxins. They have just banned 9. And again, one of the few we know is DDT. And there are many others that are very harmful. I named a few categories here. They are the heavy metals. You are all very well aware of those. And then we have the chemicals, which include forever chemicals, the volatile organic compounds, pesticides, herbicides, which many of them are endocrine disrupting chemicals. And we also have many, many microplastics, because all the plastics we ever produced as human beings are still on this planet, floating around on the landslides, in the ocean. For example, there is a plastic patch in the Pacific Ocean, double the size of Texas. 4 billion pounds of toxic chemicals are released into the environment yearly, every year, 4 billion pounds. It's a number I can't even imagine. And that includes 72 million pounds of known carcinogens. So how do they now get into our bodies? They get into, like I already said, through the skin, through the food, through the water, through the air, through breathing. They are in our non-sticky cookware. They are in our drinking waters. We are surrounded by weed killers. Even if we eat organic food, we don't fully get around. That doesn't mean I'm not recommending organic food. Of course, the more safe we try to stay, the better it is, but we don't get around fully. The US Food and Drug Administration is warning also of the poisoning linked to skin products. There are many skin products containing heavy metals like mercury, and that we should be careful of that. Oftentimes, I believe we don't even know what we put on our skins, right? It's hard to say it. They won't put it on their label if there are any heavy metals in their products. It's especially dangerous with sunscreens. There are many hormone disrupting substances in especially the cheap sunscreens, but even the more expensive ones, we cannot be sure. So make sure you always look on the ingredients and get a safe sunscreen. This is another thing which shocked me pretty much when I saw this for the first time. It's about dark chocolate. We all know that dark chocolate has some health benefits, but if we see here, those are all organic dark chocolates, and even the organic ones are loaded with cadmium, up to 49% above the dose we should ingest. That was pretty much a shock. I mean, if it's Lind or any of those brands that are not non-organic, I'm not so surprised. And these two, of course, are even worse, or the three. But even this one here, 204% for the organic Alta Eco is pretty bad. You have a little clip about Fanta, but before we go to that, look at the mac and cheese, the US variant and the UK. It starts with the first one. In the UK, we have macaroni. That's pretty clear what that is. In the United States, it's an enriched macaroni product, which is like, why would we have an enriched macaroni product instead of just macaroni? And it goes on and on. There are over 30 ingredients instead of 8 or 9 we have in the UK, and I'm pretty sure they are all not necessary. Let's listen in on this.
Ever wondered why Fanta orange tastes and looks different in the US and the UK? In the next few seconds, you'll learn the surprising differences. UK Fanta gets its color from carrots, pumpkins, and orange fruit. US Fanta uses dyes like red 40 and yellow 6. There's about 3 times as much sugar in the US version. The US Fanta contains high fructose corn syrup instead of regular sugar, and there's no orange juice in American Fanta. Stay informed and start removing toxins today. Like what you see? Subscribe for more.
Yeah, this goes really on and on. The situation in the United States is not fabulous. Me being from Europe, it's not great there, but it's worse here. I know now. Here's another example of in the US and the UK version. You can see many more ingredients in the US version, and they are all not necessary. In the UK version, we have really just what they need to have an oatmeal, and here is a lot more. A nice example is also these. I mean, these are not healthy foods, and we all might not eat it, but it's still an interesting fact that why does it have so many more calories? That can only be much more sugar, right? It's like in the US, it's really looks like people are very used nowadays to a lot of sugar, and even in things like hamburger, if we knew the amount of sugar in hamburger, it's pretty mind-boggling. And it's again higher here than in other countries. Here, and this milkshake, 800 calories compared to 488. And 488 is not low, but 800, this is a full meal in one shake. Here are a few examples of chronic intoxication of heavy metals, what they do to our body, how we can feel it in dizziness, nausea, in pulmonary diseases, and many more. You can see that. Skin irritation, kidney damages, and all of that. And these are really the chronic things. I'm not talking about an acute intoxication. These are the forever chemicals. Forever chemicals have the name forever chemicals because they don't change. They stay in our body forever. If we don't have a mechanism to take them out, we are not able to excrete them. And they have a big impact on our health. They can impact our thyroid health, increased cholesterol levels. They can lead to bad cells in our breast, liver damage, bad cells in the kidneys, or inflammatory bowel disease, and many more. They are everywhere, as you can see here in this diagram. They are in many packaging. They are in our non-sticky cookware, in nail polish, dental floss, and many more products. Here's a little bit summed up the effects on our body by all these chemical compounds and heavy metals and microplastic. They have an effect on our entire system, on our entire cellular health, which includes mitochondria. And mitochondria is our energy center, our body own nuclear power plant, if you will, right? This is what energizes our system. I also, you might not know, or you might know that, for example, in our heart, we have 10 times as many mitochondria than in the rest of the body, and all this affects our mitochondria. So it definitely, because of that, also has an effect on our heart health, right? If it affects our mitochondria. It has an effect on the DNA, nervous system, and you see it yourself on our entire system. So let's see what happens. It starts with maybe not even having any future little ones. Since the 1960s, the infertility rate and birth defects went up tremendously. Infertility in 1960 was at a number of 7 to 8%. In 2021, it went up to about 30%. And that's linked to all the hormone disrupting and cellular health affecting heavy metals and toxins. It's not the entire infertility, but to a large extent. More couples are struggling having children, and it affects, of course, men and women. So it always makes sense to address both of them. And like I said, birth defects go up too. We have now babies born are already born with an average of 200 different industrial chemicals and pollutants in their blood, because most of the pollutants go through the umbilical cord to the baby. Only a few can get held back. And that then also explains how we get to more and more children with ADHD and autism and birth defects, and more abnormalities in development in children. The research has shown that there's a huge link of the exposure to heavy metals and the level of heavy metals and other toxins in the blood and children with ASD, that's autism. And of course, it doesn't stop with our children. We as well are affected by the contamination, and depression, anxiety, bipolarity, and schizophrenia can be caused by this exposure, or at least can be worsened by that. It has an effect on, like we said, it has an effect on the cellular health. So it also has an effect on our nerve cells and the hormones and neurotransmitters that are responsible for our mood. It has an impact on our cardiovascular health. I I already named it a little bit. The heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, mercury, and lead can increase the blood pressure. And also because it has an impact on the mitochondria, again, it affects our heart health as well. We also have the National Library of Medicine has, I found this on the internet, epidemiological studies demonstrated an association between heavy metal and organic pollutant exposure and the incidence of obesity and metabolic syndrome. Another big modern problem. And we have these numbers as well. Obesity and diabetes is like an epidemic and went up in the last 60 years tremendously. We have the numbers in 1960, 1962. The CDC estimated that 13% of adults were obese. In 2017 to 18. This number has nearly tripled to 43%. I don't know how you feel about it. I think it's shocking. And that has, of course, also to do with the high sugar content, what I showed earlier, but it also interestingly has to do with heavy metals, I get to, and the other toxins, which is really interesting. It also increased tremendously in children, went almost up, almost quadrupled in the last 50 years. Morbid obesity went up of over 10%, from 1% to 10%. And studies have shown a link between heavy metals and obesity. It is like a lot of the heavy metals and other toxins are stored in our fat cells. And it's like our fat cells are now holding on to these toxins. And by holding on to the toxins, the body holds on to the fat cells. It's really hard to lose weight if we have a heavy load of toxins in our body. Diabetes are more shocking numbers. You see yourself, it's up from 1.8% in 1960, 2000, 5.8%, and in 2019 to 8% people with diabetes. As well linked to heavy metal and all the other toxins. And we can't stop there. Bad cells, according to the NIH, DNA heavy metals are linked to DNA damage and epigenetic changes and oxidative stress, which can lead to cancer. Same with pesticides. They interfere with our hormones, can damage the DNA, and can cause inflammation. And causing inflammation always means there can come a lot after this. There can come all kinds of diseases if the environment is too acidic and inflammation takes place. There can also take place cancer. And of course, that's not all. We all know about these little nagging issues like chronic fatigue, which went up in the last few years a lot. Insomnia, many people struggle with insomnia, mood changes, or menopause symptoms. And all this is actually not necessary. If we can get rid of what our body burden is, we can get much better. There's always a correlation. Oh yeah, go to Google and check it out. You will always find a correlation with any kind of disease you would like to avoid. Check it out. There is a correlation with that disease and heavy metals. It's very interesting. And another fact is that we cannot rid our modern world of its pollution and that we cannot out-nutrition our body burden. We have to really get it out. By taking more supplements and more vitamins, we don't get rid of the body burden. And the good news is Avini Health has a solution for your body's pollution. I like the rhyme. So let's look what happens when bad cells go good. Doesn't that look pretty? We all know we are all divine beings and we were created perfectly prepared to heal ourselves if we don't face any roadblocks and if our cells are clean and healthy. And I have now thought about for the next presentation, I will have that ready, but I'm going to share what I'm thinking about. I think that's I always like things that are visual. So I was thinking I will have a glass jar with water and something metal in it, small metal pieces, right? And what the regular detox, what we always call detox or cleanse, what we do with that is taking a spoon and stirring up in our body, as if we have this jar with these little metal pieces we stir up, and then everything is on the bottom, but now we stir it up and have it inside the border, like we would have it inside our entire body. What we are really wanting to do is taking a magnet, right, with the little claw and pulling these little metal pieces inside this cage and pull it out of the body. And that's what we are going to do with our wonderful Cell.Defender, which I'm going to show you in the next slide. That's Cell.Defender. That's exactly that. Cell.Defender is one of the very few natural minerals on this planet with a negative charge. And therefore, it attracts the positively charged heavy metals in our system, captures them inside the cage-like structure, and removes them safely, easily, and effortlessly from our bodies through the kidneys. It is a natural purifier, has been used for nature's cleanses for hundreds of years. The Cell.Defender, with a different name, had been sold over 8 million times, and in just the last 2 years we had over 1,400 testimonials. But before I go ahead, I let our expert talk himself. He knows so much better, Rick Deitch. I hope this is gonna work. Doesn't look too good. Here he goes. Okay, let's take it away, Rick.
Hi, my name's Rick Deitch. I'm a biochemist, and I'm a little different in the field because I'm both a nutritional and a pharmaceutical biochemist. What I want to talk to you about today is natural zeolites. So first of all, what are zeolites? So zeolites are naturally occurring compounds. They're formed usually in volcanic eruptions when the ash and lava goes into salt water, and over thousands and thousands of years through heat and pressure form crystalline lattices, a crystal shape that becomes a natural zeolite. So zeolites are unique for a variety of reasons. First of all, they form a cage-like structure. If you saw this crystal, it's got a lot of space inside. Now, not only does it have that crystalline shape and that cage-like structure, it also carries a negative charge. So because of zeolite's cage-like structure and its negative charge, it has the ability to draw to itself and trap within itself a variety of different compounds, primarily heavy metals. Now, we use a zeolite called clinoptilolite. Clinoptilolite, because of its cage-like structure and the pore size of that particular zeolite, just loves toxic heavy metals like mercury and lead and cadmium and arsenic. And it doesn't like the good metals like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sodium, potassium. It's really good at separating out the good from the bad. The reason is the smaller the metal and the higher the charge, the greater the affinity for the zeolite. So it just so happens things that are bad for us are small with a high charge, and all things that are good for us are bigger with a lower charge. So even though clinoptilolite has this huge history of traditional medicine, traditional use in detoxification and things like that, we know there's problems with it. When I first started looking at zeolites in the 90s, I looked at clinoptilolite and I looked at some products that were basically capsules or powders that had the clinoptilolite in it, and I knew there were problems with it. The first problem is it was too big. The powder that comes out of a zeolite mine site is usually anywhere from 5 microns to 200 microns, like a rough granular sand. That's way too big to be absorbed from the digestive tract into the bloodstream. I came up with my first process, a micronization process. So using high pressure and centrifugation, I crush the zeolite over and over and over again to make it smaller and smaller and smaller, where my average particle size is smaller than a micron, and the smallest particles are as small as 390 nanometers, 0.39 microns. That's certainly small enough to be absorbed from the digestive tract into the bloodstream. Now, since I launched my zeolite, there's been dozens of competitors that came to market, and they all claim the same thing. They use my research and my studies to try to support their products. But in every one of these cases, we've not been able, in any single case, to identify zeolite in the bloodstream of people using those products. So we don't know if that even gets in. We just haven't seen it. The second problem with the natural zeolites is that they're dirty. Zeolites are really good at sucking up toxins and heavy metals. So even in the zeolite mine site, anytime air blows through that mine site and water flows through it, the zeolite's sucking up all those toxins and heavy metal. And if you don't do some sort of cleaning process, that's in the finished product. Now, I'm not saying they're dangerous because the zeolite is so good at holding on to them, it's not exchanged out into the body. But if it's already full of all those high affinity compounds, how much can it take out of your body? How much detoxifying can it do? So in our lab, we came up with our activation process. We use high heat and ultra purified water and natural acids to first drive off the volatile organic compounds and then to force the exchange of heavy metals for good metals. So the best analogy I can come up with this process is look at a kitchen sponge. So if the sponge is dirty, if it's full of stuff, how clean is it going to be able to get your kitchen, get your counters? But if you take it to the sink and you rinse it out, and clean it out, squeeze it out, now it's got tons of room, tons of space in it to be able to clean your kitchen. That's kind of what we do with our proprietary micronization activation process. And I have to tell you, no one else does this. Since I launched my zeolite product, my first commercial zeolite product in 2004, we've been knocked off dozens of times. And we've looked at every one of those products. And in many cases, we can't even find zeolite in the product at all. And when we do, it's something that hasn't been micronized or activated. In many cases, people say they don't have to activate the zeolite because it comes from a pure source. Well, there's no such thing. There's no pure place or pristine place left on Earth. When we clean out the zeolite, we actually measure what comes out of it. And in one batch, we saw some volatile organic compounds come out, and we measured it, and it came back as diesel fuel exhaust, which means even the manufacturing equipment that's mining the zeolite is creating toxins that are being pulled into the zeolite. So unless you're doing a process like ours, an activation process, that stuff is in the final product. Now, our product has actually been around since 2004. It's subject to 15 clinical studies, and 3 of the studies we actually wrapped up into one study that was published in a peer-reviewed journal, and that study is available. But we've looked at this time and time and time again for its benefits, and the 3 major benefits are pretty basic. It removes toxins and heavy metals from the body, therefore making the body healthier, and a cleaner, healthier body fixes itself. The second thing is through that activation process, we actually help stabilize pH. And we make the body more alkaline. And you want the body in an alkaline state, which puts it into an antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer state. And then lastly, it helps support and stabilize your immune system because of those other mechanisms. This product is something that when people find out about it, everybody wants it. Everybody needs it. Everybody on the planet, and this is the only place to get it.
Yes. So that's really an interesting thing. Another thing he said, there are dozens of knockoff products out there, and I have taken a look at a few of them. And one time someone told me that she has this great scientist and they have a product line, and one of their products is a zeolite too. And it's such a fantastic scientist, I should take a look at it. So I thought, okay, let me see, right? I'm open-minded to take a look. So I took a look and was searching for the ingredient zeolite. There was just no zeolite in. I was pulling apart everything, and I was trying, I mean, maybe they are hiding it. No, it was just not in. But they're claiming on YouTube about their product. They're claiming they have the micronized, activated, and all of it. It's just not in the product. I mean, these things really happen. Or another thing is, someone told me, oh yeah, I can get that so much cheaper on Amazon. And then I take a look at that product. And when we study pharmacy in Germany, we have an entire semester where we learn how to still manufacture our own pharmaceuticals. We still do this. So sometimes the doctor prescribes the ingredients and we make the capsule, we make the suspension, we manufacture the pills, the tablets, the suspensions, whatever, the suppositories or whatever people need, right? So I know a little bit about how things are manufactured. So they had a zeolite product that was in a spray bottle. That's impossible. It's a suspension. In a spray bottle, you spray it 2, 3, 4 times, it's going to be clogged. There is no more spray coming out. So this is it's impossible, right? These are just things that are not possible. It's really interesting. So it makes a lot of sense what Rick says, and I can just underscore there is no such thing. And yeah, there are more products. We have products for immune support, hydration, pain relief, which I love a lot. It's a homeopathic cobra venom, relieves pain in a strength better than opioids without all the side effects or any tolerance development or addiction. We have Energy Plus, Cardio Care, Mind and Vision, and we have pet products. So my little Schnupsel also doesn't have to suffer with toxins in her body. Here's the product line one more time. Here's our Cell.Defender. We can modulate the immune system with the immunity mushrooms, which is important to know. It's not in increasing the immune system or pushing the immune system modulation. So it even is possible for people with autoimmune diseases and will help them. We have a wonderful fiber product necessary for everybody because we all don't need enough fiber in our diet. And it's the best fiber I've seen on the market. Of course, also has the zeolite inside, plus 3 natural fibers and an inulin to help our body produce more of the good gut bacteria and clean out the gut with the zeolite. And of course, we have cardio care and plus mind and vision. Avini Health is designed to take out what doesn't belong in the body and substitute what we lack in the highest quality and the most effective dose. So here's again our genius, Rick Deitch. He's our formulator and CSO. He is a pharmaceutical and nutritional biochemist. I love that a lot. He has over 25 years of experience in development of, and he's the category creator of detoxolite, which is our specific cleanup ptylolite zeolite. And he started his career in cancer treatment and research and development. Neil Roth and Doug Dickey. Neil Roth is our CEO, a nuclear physicist with over 45 years of top executive positions in multi-billion-dollar companies, and Doug Dickey, VP of Sales with 20 years of experience as CEO and CFO in fertilizer and plant nutrition company, invented high-tech, environmentally safe products. We need more of those. That's the facility. It's a FDA and GMP regulated facility in Boca Raton. Everything is in Avini Health hands. In our hands, there's nothing outsourced from manufacturing to distribution, everything in-house. So if anyone wants to know why it's direct marketing and why it's not on a shelf on a Target or a whatever kind of store or even maybe Amazon, that's pretty easy because these products need explanation. People need to understand what it's for, how much they need to take, how they're gonna benefit from it, and really what it does. But the way more important thing, we don't want any external interference. We want to have our product secure, safe, and to the same standard we have it now. We never want it to be changed, and that's only possible in direct marketing. There is no other way. And the third benefit is for us, because we all benefit. It's not just a retailer benefiting and the CEO of the company, and then in a smaller way the workers. No, we all can benefit. We all can not just get our health right, but we can also get our financial health right. So I think that's a wonderful benefit for all of us. I want to show the 3 ways to get started. So one way is being a retail customer. So you can try the product. There's no risk. You have a 30-day money back guarantee. You can become a member and enjoy wholesale price and gain exceptional health, grow younger every day. Or you can decide you want to be a blessing for others and don't just experience this wonderful health, but also help others in getting better health and get paid with money and goosebumps. To sum it up, one option is learn more. That means get back to the person who invited you here. Second option, expand your health span by becoming a customer. The third one, become a member, expand your health span, and be a blessing to the people you meet along the way. I want to thank you all very much for being here today and paying attention and joining me and being here with me. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the sharing now. And please get back to the person who invited you to this presentation. Thank you very much. Anyone, questions? Did I put you to sleep? Are you still there? Talk to
Anyone
me.
who wants to can unmute.
Yes,
Katrina, thank you. That was very good.
It was terrific. Forgive me having to turn it off. I had to lay down because my back is pinching. and it hurts so, but I listened to the whole thing. It's terrific. I have people who couldn't be here today at 3 o'clock and wanted to know, where is it going to be? Is it going to, you're going to have a copy of it up
Yes,
online?
I'm gonna stop the recording right this second.